Global stage. Welcome back. So we are dealing with the true purpose of marriage under this series called The Concept of Marriage. And the purpose of marriage is pictured like a man carrying a heavy load on his head towards a certain destination and in need of someone to assist him carry that heavy load. And so he searches out for someone capable of assisting him, and then he finds one. So the two carry the heavy load on their heads. Therefore, the load becomes lighter and they reach their destination with ease and successfully, in spite of all the challenges they may have encountered on their way. Because two heads are better than one. They say two is better than one, and there is strength in unity. So the man represents the husband, the heavy load represents the vision or the assignment by God, the capable someone represents the wife, and lastly, the destination represents the accomplishment of the vision or the assignment God has given him. So the true purpose of God's idea of marriage is to fulfill a vision, is to help fulfill the vision given to the man from God. For the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 8 to 9, he says, I read, "For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man." It is about the man with the vision in the presence of God. It is not about childbearing, financial security, or companionship. These are the benefits you may get in the marriage. And these benefits should help the marriage fulfill its true purpose, which is to fulfill the vision God has given the man. So in true marriage, the burden of the man should be lighter because two heads are better than one. The man also has responsibilities towards the wife and the home. And the wife also has responsibilities towards the man and the home. That is why the Bible says the one who is married cares about the things of this world, how he or she may please her spouse or his spouse. But those responsibilities should not be taken as the reason for the marriage. They are supposed to help the marriage fulfill its vision, but they should not replace the purpose of the marriage. Very important point. Very important point. The purpose of the marriage is not the same as the responsibilities you find in marriage. So as a man, as a husband, as a wife, the responsibilities you do at home towards your wife or your home is not the purpose of marriage. How many of those married know what I just told you? If you sample 10 couples, out of the 10, only one couple may know what I'm telling you, frankly speaking. Because the ultimate reason for the marriage in the first place is to fulfill God's given vision of the man. But sadly, there are too many men carrying the burdens of women because a lot of women see marriage as an opportunity to add their load to that of the man, because many don't know and understand the purpose of marriage, including the men themselves. The reason you are there in that home or in that marriage is not to cook for him, watch for him, bear him children, or clean the home. The reason you are there as a wife is to help your husband fulfill God's given vision. All the domestic chores are secondary matters. The primary matter is about the vision of God given to the man. And you also have some men who, when they should be carrying the heavy part of the load, they either leave off the load to the woman or carry the lighter parts of that load. Such men are crooks. Your wife is to assist you carry the load and not carry the load herself or the heavier parts. That is not fair. And somebody may be asking, do you mean women don't receive a vision from God? I'm not saying that. Or you may ask, what if the woman also has a vision God has given her to fulfill? Must she put hers aside and help that of the man? No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that in marriage, it is about the man's vision ultimately. And so if you have a vision God has given to you as a wife, that man called your husband would automatically help you fulfill your vision, meaning your vision would have to go along with that of your man's vision, that is that of your husband's vision, to be fulfilled. But then ultimately it is about the man in that marriage. Very important point. And I know that we are living in a day where some women helped certain men to fulfill their vision and the man abandoned them. Well, I'm dealing with that man who is in the presence of God and not just any man. A man in the presence of God will not abandon you. 100% assurity. I'm dealing with that man who is in the presence of God and not just any man. So it matters who you marry or who marries you as a woman. And so the vision of the woman, that is the wife, is to help fulfill the vision of the man in God's presence. If you marry someone who is not in the presence of God, my dear sister, my dear lady, you are in trouble. They may eventually abandon you because they are not in the presence of God. A man in God's presence will never abandon you. And when I speak of a vision or an assignment, I'm not necessarily talking about the job your husband is into or the work he's into. There are natural destinies and there are divine destinies. There are God-given destinies and there are natural destinies. I'm dealing with God's given destiny or vision. And it only begins when one is in the presence of God. Remember, Adam was first in the presence of God before he was given an assignment. So you may ask, who is that man in the presence of God? How can I identify such a man? Well, if you stick with me to the end, you will find out very soon. You may be asking also, why is it always about the man and not the woman? Alright, I'll show you in my next series or in my next episode why it is about the man from the Bible. So as a man, what is your God-given vision in life? It is your responsibility to find out before you consider marrying. And if you are married, it is still your responsibility to find out whilst you are married. And as a woman, you have to identify the man whom you are suited for to help fulfill that vision. And they say behind every successful man, there is a woman. I don't agree with that statement at all. It is very wrong. It should rather be beside every successful man, there is a good woman. This is what God told me years ago that it should be. It should be beside and not behind. It is a good woman and not just any woman. And did you know that it was God who saw that Adam was alone and that he needed someone? Listen, it is God who decides if and when you should get married. But nevertheless, if you also have your free will. So if you want to still go ahead and get married, it is better. But it's better to listen to the voice of God than to go your own way. You may end up in trouble. So alright, finally we've discovered the true purpose of marriage, and that is to fulfill a vision or an assignment God has given that man. Question: have you discovered your God-given assignment? If you are a wife, why don't you ask your husband his God-given vision? If you're a husband, have you told your wife about your God-given vision? Have you asked your wife if she also has a vision God has given her to fulfill? Now it begins when one comes into the presence of God. Discover yours today. And there is an ultimate vision of marriage that all the different kinds of the visions and assignment God gives to mankind points to. I'll talk about that later in this series. I would like to end here and tell me under the comment section your purpose, your God-given vision in life. Meditate on these things I just shared with you and walk in the light of it. It will bring beauty and light into your marriage. Hey, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God bless you.